before Money Bootcamp, I am pretty good with money. I am very, I've put a lot of work into learning good habits with money. And so I've always considered myself to be quite good. However, I didn't feel that I was heading in the direction I wanted. So instead of a nice and steady curve upwards, I wanted a curve upwards, which we all do. That's one of the reasons why we become entrepreneurs, because we can see that we're not earning a commensurate amount for what we're talented or skilled or able to do. And I wanted to take more of a conscious sort of step towards earning more money. So I knew I was good in receiving and building slow amounts of wealth in the traditional methods, because, you know, the whole myth of you go to school, you get a job, you save money, you buy a house, you pay off your house, and you retire. Well, that's kind of long and boring. And I wanted a bit more excitement. And also, apparently, when I was a little kid, I used to tell people I was going to be rich. Like when I was 4 or 5, I'd tell everyone I was going to be rich. And then, of course, life happens, and you have children, you have a mortgage, there's a global recession or two, and who you become is shaped by the experiences that you have. And so there's always an inner core of yourself that stays the same, but the way that you move through the world changes. And when you come to a point, you're like, well, this isn't what I wanted, this isn't what I planned, and there's this feeling inside me that this isn't right. So what do I need to do to step back into what I feel that I'm supposed to be doing? And we made a lot of choices out of fear. I returned back to work a bit earlier than I would have liked to, because we needed the money. My husband's job was a little bit, what's the word, patchy at the time. You know, it wasn't quite as stable as it usually is. And so we made a lot of decisions from fear. And coupled that with my pretty decent money skills, we did pretty well. We came out of the global recession. We didn't lose the house. We didn't starve. We're all doing good. We didn't miss too many bills. We did borrow a lot of money and had to burn a few of our little savings stashes, but we made it through okay. However, the jobs I was doing weren't jobs that stepped into my own power, and they tended to be low-paid jobs because they were easy. And it got to the point where we were comfortable, and I'd been feeling safe for long enough that I could allow myself to be unsafe again, if that made sense. You need to be comfortable with being uncomfortable to be able to grow and to change your situation and to develop. And so, yeah, we come a long way. My husband and I were very happy. I'd had a job, a variety of jobs for a while. And so we come to a point where we had enough money that I could start to invest in more than just survival. And I started to sort of look around. I don't remember when I first signed up to Denise's mailing list, but I remember reading some of the stories and going, oh yeah, that's kind of interesting. And then it was school holidays, so I had a lot of time, and we went down to my mother-in-law's house, and I got up at 6 o'clock every morning on my holidays. For like 4 days running, so that I could watch Denise's videos and Denise's lives. And I actually purchased before the launch day. Not about Money Bootcamp, no. My fears were more about me not doing what I feel like I've been sent to this earth to do.
Yeah,
so
not
I really
fulfilling.
That's right.
Yeah,
that was my big thing, is that I felt like I wasn't fulfilling anything that I was intending to do or was supposed to do, and I didn't know why or how. And so it was time to do something radical and see what happens. The other day, a friend of mine that I don't see very often asked how I've been, and I know it's been a couple of years since I saw her, so I ended up writing a 3,000-word essay about just the last 12 months. So the last 2 years, so when I started Money Bootcamp, I was working for the government. I decided I needed a secure job, and that's what I manifested. I applied so I got a federal government role, and then it was only contract, And I was like, well, that's not working for me. So then I applied for 30 permanent government jobs in a year. So I can write a good resume when I want to. And then I finally got my permanency I worked, and it was all very secure, and it's all very boring, and it's a very small microcosm of people. And it was a good experience. I loved a lot of aspects of it, but it was never going to be a permanent job, I think. And then I started Money Bootcamp and started to sort of really look around what I was doing and where I was going and what I wanted to do and where did it fit in with what I feel is my life purpose and my life goals. And I mean, I've always been a person who's ongoing developed myself. A very strong theme with me and my best friend is a critical analysis of ourselves and who are we, and we'll take apart conversations to sort of determine, did we make the best outcome, or how did we feel about that when somebody said this thing. And we're always been on a path of self-development, but healing relationship to work, productivity and money is a new thing. So working for the federal government in a very secure job for a number of years gave me the space to feel healed enough. And also the other thing about a federal role is that we all have the same agreement within that department, and everybody in the entire department knows the agreement. So everybody knows exactly to the minute what they're entitled to, and it's all set up so that for me, it felt very supportive, because the previous private enterprises had been much less open about policies and structures, and so it was interesting to see the two different types, and that gave me a healing space where I sort of redeveloped my understanding of work and what I wanted to do. And then November last year, a whole bunch of things happened. My nana got very sick and we expected her to pass away quite soon. And also so this is the problem. All these threads, they all tie in together. All these little bits, it's like weaving, it's like crochet. So before November last year, because I had grown so much with Money Bootcamp taught me that I should look at my strengths and weaknesses and then build a business based on those, rather than going, well, there's a business, I'll just do that. And so I'd been doing all this work. What did I want to do? Where do I want to go? What parts do I enjoy? And so through that process, I had realized that I want to do coaching. I've wanted to do coaching for decades, since Leonie Dawson's time, the first time.
That's a while.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And I like doing training and delivering that sort of style, that sort of like watching what Denise does. Some aspects of that really attract me. I think I would enjoy doing that sort of thing. But I just needed the skills, I needed the infrastructure. So I started to look around, ended up with another Money Bootcamper has a course called Take Off, and that's Natasha Corbin, and fantastic course. And one of the things it did was it stepped me through the process quite rigorously, I'd like to point out. Stepped me through the process of determining all these bits and pieces about my business I'd never thought about before. And then it says, go out and talk to people. And I was like, oh, I can't do that. Anyway, so eventually I did, because you have to, part of doing business, you have to talk to people. So I started to do avatar interviews. And then one of them said, hey, I know that we're talking about doing coaching for social media, but do you write stuff? And I'm like, yes. And anyway, I ended up working for her doing copywriting. So I was writing blogs regularly and getting paid, which was awesome. And then in November, my nana got sick, a whole bunch of other stuff happened. And a contact of my first client was like, hey, we need copywriting. And I'm like, yep, that'd be great. They were actually a business, and that was a whole different kettle of fish to my previous person, who was a sole entrepreneur. And so there was a huge learning growth going on at the same time. So I went part-time at work, which gave me the mental space and the time to develop my business further. And that was great. I loved it. And then as all things happen, it ebbs and it flows. And so my work changed, which is one reason why I was determined to get out. I nearly quit. I literally was 3 days away from quitting when I heard word from a social media department inside the department. And so I worked for 5 months doing social media for a large government organization. And then during that time, I was also doing my business and developing my own coaching and social media business. When I did finally quit, I quit on a Sunday night, and one of the part-time jobs I had lined up on Tuesday contacted me and said, hey, let's chat. I'm like, okay, sure. And she was like, so how are you going? And I was like, well, I just quit work. Awesome. And she's like, well, that's great, because I was going to ask, instead of part-time, would you like to go full-time? So I've gone from working in government roles, like many, many government roles, and I'm now working in marketing and social media as a full-time agent in another business. But I'm still doing the coaching on the side, and I'm still working on my social media confidence academy. So it's like the best of all worlds is combined into one. It's just incredible. And I get to do copywriting all the time. I celebrated actually running a business, because I've tried before and it hasn't quite worked. And the first couple of times I was good at the marketing and the social media side, but the actual turned out I don't like products. I've done multi-level marketing. I've sold Tupperware. I've sold underwear and classy underwear, yeah, random stuff on multi-level marketing. And I think personally that's a great way to start getting some business skills, but really getting leads, getting proposals written, having those meetings and talking to people, delivering work, sending invoices, receiving money. Oh, I love sending invoices. It's the best. Everyone's like, oh, I don't like sending invoices. I was like, let me do it for you. It's just awesome. You've done that work. You deserve that money. You've worked hard for that, and it's not like it's just an hour of your time. It's an hour of your time after X number of years of practice and skills and experience. You've earned that. You should be happy to send invoices. So that was a big win, was actually running a business that actually made money. So I actually had to have proper software, and I actually had to have proper skills, and I actually had to send and maintain records and documents and all the little fiddly things that you don't think about. Another big win was I was planning to quit. I had no money, had no backup, but a friend said, I'm getting married in October. Would you like to come? And so I packed up my whole family of 5 and we flew across Australia and stayed for like 4 days and then flew home. And like it was a huge amount of money and I had no backup, and that was okay.
Yeah, that's amazing to be able to
There's always more money.
Yeah.
And I knew where more money was going to come. It's all timing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's 2 things. And the third thing is definitely my little handbag. I bought, well, the original price was like $900, but I got it for a lot less than that. So money mindset helps in business in a large number of ways, actually. And it's a bottom level upgrade that affects everything. When you look at your business, it's very easy to get very buried in what I call the administrivia. So like I said, I got a bit of a rush out of writing my proposals and doing my invoice and everything, but a lot of people don't, and it's work that has to be done and you hate it. So you go and do it, but you don't step back and take a critical eye on what you're doing and why. And so with Money Bootcamp, it steps you through the processes of looking at what you're doing, thinking about why. Is it actually a valuable activity to do? Can you outsource it? Can you do it differently? Can you streamline it? So Money Bootcamp it is about money, but it's also about value and value of your own time and your own self. Because also, again, when people talk about running a business, they don't understand that there are always expenses. So for example, I'm going to use Australian dollars as an example here. As a beginning copywriter, it's between $80 to $110 an hour. Okay, and people are like, oh, but that's so much money. However, licensing for the software that they might be using, insurance, if they're a proper business, they will have insurance, equipment, like they need a laptop, they need internet, they need somewhere to be able to sit down and work, they need office equipment. All of this sick leave, holiday leave, and vacation, long service leave, all of that has to be factored into that figure. So when it breaks down, they're still only getting possibly between $20 to $30 an hour for pay, and the rest of that funds then goes into business expenses. And that's something I didn't realize. And that's something a lot of new entrepreneurs don't realize. And so when it comes to how has Money Bootcamp helped you in your business, that was the first thing I started to learn is, okay, so I'm charging X because I'm new and I don't know what I'm doing. And then after a few months, I was like, oh, hang on, now I'm getting an idea and I have a better idea of what I'm doing. And so going back to those lessons from Money Bootcamp, decluttering, assessing the 1 or 10% incremental upgrades, you know, making one decision for now is fine. Everything can be changed in business. Like, you know, if you pay for your mailing system and then decide you don't like it later, you can just change. There's always more money. And that assurance is what was pretty instrumental, is that you can change things. Nothing's set in stone. And so when I say Money Bootcamp helps business from the bottom up, it really does affect everything you do, from the choices of the work you actually choose to do, how you do that work as well. You know, if, for example, I'm providing to a client, say I'm doing done for you social media, and I say, okay, I can do 5 Facebook posts for the next 4 weeks. You have to approve them. I will provide text and images. How do I provide that in a meaningful manner that is also supports other aspects of the business? So yeah, it's quite an eye-opening thing, and it's something that you go back to again and again and again, because you're always in a state of learning. And if you stop learning, then you need to have a holiday. I love Denise Duffield-Thomas. She reminds me of so many of my friends. She's hilarious, massive introvert, 100%. I can see that. Like, everyone's like, oh, she's so voluble and chatty. It's like, oh no, that's on. She'll be off for a long time to recover from that. Because I also, these days, I switch between both. I can put out a lot of energy, or I need to recover a lot of energy, and you don't get, it's a balancing game. I really like the fact that she's really open about all of the things that she goes through. Nothing is ever perfect. Honest to goodness, doesn't matter what you do. I mean, let's ask Elon. Nothing is ever perfect. Denise is hilarious, and she's so funny. And I think her real joy in helping people with these particular aspects of Money Bootcamp coaching come through in her videos when she goes live in the groups. Her warmth really does shine through. The fact that she has great boundaries, even if she doesn't think they're that good, I think that she does an incredible job. And the fact that she's a woman in business and happy to talk about money. I've talked about money for most of my life, and it makes a lot of people uncomfortable. So I really relate to the fact that she's very comfortable going, oh yeah, we just had a launch, we made this much money. We had this number of customers sign up. And every person there, the expected response is, oh, what? It's a woman sucking money out of me. But really, it's like, I'm part of a group that's supporting another woman doing something interesting. And I'm learning from the process as well. You know, it's because she's talking about money so openly, it helps us feel connected to other people doing similar things. And that was actually one of the reasons I'd forgotten to mention about why I did join Money Bootcamp, is because I was tired of feeling lonely. Decluttering is really, really powerful. And you do get some really random positives or thumbs up from the universe when you're doing the work. Like, you just don't expect it. And then all of a sudden, something like the first time I started decluttering, so I've still got leftovers from when I was running an online clothing company. And so I started decluttering and getting rid of some of those. And I was trying to sell a couple of pieces that were nice, and they just weren't selling. And then I was doing some really deep decluttering, when you start going through every drawer. And I don't know, I just hit a point where I was like, you know, sometimes when you learn a certain lesson, you can feel something click in your head. And I was like, okay, I need to stop. And I walked away from the decluttering for a while. And within 24 hours, I sold both of them. And I had a lesson from each of those sales too. So the first sale, the lady was like, oh, can I pay you like 70% of what you'd asked for? And I remember I went and jumped in the shower, and because I saw the message, and my rule is don't respond to messages if you're feeling emotions, because it's a terrible time to respond to anything, really, isn't it? And she was like, oh, do you mind if I pay you like 70%? And I was like, what? So I went and had the shower, and I was like, why would she ask that? Oh my God, I should give her a discount. No, I want to give her a discount. And the whole shower, you know how you have a shower for thinking, it was a long shower. And eventually I came out and said, no. You know, it was much more polite than that, but I was like, oh, look, I'm sorry, I can't, but no. And she was, okay. That was literally all she said was, okay, here's my address, tomorrow morning, fine. But you need to make time. They do. They have to make time. It's as simple as that. You can do it any number of ways. So when I was working in the government, I still had a lot of my creative energy at the end of the day. And so I would come home and watch videos, journal all the time, and create cheat sheets. I actually, to the side of my camera here, I actually have some nail polish display cabinets because I like nail polish. But attached to them are all these little cheat sheets and memory aids that I've created or have found that help keep me on track with what I want to do. The other thing I used to do was I've got little index cards, and I would write my goals on them and put little ticky boxes next to them. And then I keep this on my desk. And then every time I do it, you tick it off. Done a newsletter, tick it off. Done your advertising, tick it off. I'm a big fan of creating tick boxes. For a while, every month, I would have a monthly list of things I wanted to do. And then every time I did something, I'd go back into my diary, tick the tick box. I actually have a ticky book now. It's just for ticking. It's a bit bigger. This is now my tick diary, I guess. So I'll make lists, and I've drawn in all my hours and my days. And then once I finish the week, I go back and I look at what I've done. I appreciate the fact that things have changed, and I've done quite a lot. This is, as part of my business and my self-development growth. And then I put stickers on it to make it pretty, because part of it is to accept that I've changed in that week, and that my business has changed, and that I've accomplished some goals. It's a little celebration thing. There are so many ways that you can track what you're doing, but you need to make solid, consistent time. Whether it's like 1 6-hour block on a weekend, or whether it's 2 hours every night, it's up to you how much time you devote to it, but you need to commit. So now that I've started this full-time role in the marketing agency, I want to learn everything I can from them. The great way of getting experience is to use other people's, and start developing my coaching more. My coaching business is still very young, and so I want to start creating more channels and to get clients for that. And also, I am also working on the Social Media Confidence Academy, which is a 12-week course. It's going to have some live skills training and then also some coaching. So there's a live every fortnight, and that will help develop women, will help develop people to get their businesses online and feel confident about their social media presence. Everyone gets very excitable about their social media presence. They either hate it or they hate it.
It's very true.
And it's like any other creative endeavor. And I think people don't realize it's creative. I think that's one of the things that people are like, oh, why don't I like doing it? Because it is creative. And women find creativity difficult because we've been taught that that's not what we should be valuing. I think anyone who's got a feeling inside that they're not living up to their full potential, I consider it a sacred duty to use the gifts and abilities that I've been given as part of being born, really, because we are lucky to be here, and we are lucky to experience life and the sunset and sunrise and the pleasures of friends and family. And I think that if you don't feel like you're already living your best life, then you should be looking into why. And that Money Bootcamp will help you with that. The skills and techniques from Money Bootcamp are applicable across many areas of your life.
Let me see if I skipped anything. Your story is so interesting. I could just talk all day as if we were friends and just talk about all the stuff that comes up around social media and visibility and all of that stuff. I'm sure you're, an expert on that after you've helped people with all of this stuff.
They're all, well, realistically at the end, a lot of it is very similar. Like the coaching, like visibility in any space, it all relates. It's just which outcome do people want, that they want enough to actually tackle those blocks. So the Money Bootcamp community is fantastic. They are very warm and supportive. And as as a community manager myself a number of times, I also appreciate the quite clear boundaries about what is appropriate and inappropriate within the group. I also appreciate the fact that there is a team of people who work very hard to keep the discussion on topic, because being that it is Money Bootcamp, people want to ask for advice. You know, what mailing service should I use? How should I sell this product? How should I do that? But that's not what Money Bootcamp is about. It is about you exploring your own money issues and then developing beyond that. And so it's a very warm, supportive space, because there is literally thousands of people who have been through the same process. And also a lot of the women who are drawn to this sort of work tend to be very good communicators. So you will put up a post and you'll get, well, if you're celebrating, you'll get other people celebrating with you. And if it's something where you're working through an issue, then you'll get people who will help you to detangle that issue and also provide different opinions in ways that are not confrontational or aggressive. So as I said, I'm a bit of a communications junkie. And so Money Bootcamp is a very comfortable space to bring Money Bootcamp issues to. I think some people get a little uncomfortable when they want to ask questions that are adjacent, but that's not appropriate. But no, I really like the way that Denise's community is run. And I think it actually fulfills exactly what it intends to be. My new manager, well, my agency owner, is actually a Money Bootcamper as well.
That's so cool.
So yeah, I've gone from jobs where I fit into a hole into a job where it is a Sarah-shaped hole. So she chose me because she wanted me, not because she just needed a person to do a job. And that's pretty important for people to know, is that when you start to choose yourself, other people also start to choose you differently.
If you're looking for expert training on money mindset, a supportive community, and mentoring to work on your money stories, I invite you to come work with us in Money Bootcamp. Our community is growing every day, and when empowered people come together and take control of our financial destiny, we really can change lives. Come and join us on this journey. Just click below, take a deep breath, and enroll in Money Bootcamp today. You'll get our amazing money mindset training, ongoing mentoring, and access to our beautiful, inspiring community. So then you can have the encouragement and accountability to make a breakthrough with your money. And you'll get support from all of our experienced mentors and live group coaching calls with me every single month. We will be with you every step of the way to help you create more abundance with less stress. So click below, take a deep breath, and just hit join on your registration. Make this investment in your dreams and get started now, so you can release your money blocks, increase your income, and surround yourself with amazing people invested in your success. I'll see you in Money Bootcamp. It's your time and you're ready for the next step.